In the early days of Amazon, long before it became one of the largest companies in the world, the business was operating on a much smaller scale and under far more chaotic conditions. What is now a global e-commerce giant once began as a tiny startup with a small team working tirelessly out of a modest basement warehouse in Seattle. During a talk at the Academy of Achievement Summit in 2001, Jeff Bezos shared a story from those early days that perfectly illustrated how even founders can sometimes overlook the simplest solutions. Bezos reflected on the year 1995, when Amazon had only recently launched its online bookstore. At the time, the company's operations were run out of a cramped 2,000-square-foot basement warehouse. The workspace was far from the high-tech fulfillment centers Amazon operates today. The ceilings were low, the floor was made of hard concrete, and the environment felt more like a temporary storage space than the headquarters of a future tech empire. The entire team consisted of just 10 employees. Everyone had multiple responsibilities, and no one was exempt from the physical work required to keep the company running. During the daytime, many team members focused on programming the website, managing the growing online catalog, and responding to customer emails. But as the afternoon arrived and evening approached, their roles shifted completely. Instead of working behind computer screens, they moved into the warehouse to prepare customer orders. Back then, the order fulfillment process was incredibly manual. Employees would search for the requested books, gather them from shelves or boxes, wrap them carefully, and package them for shipment. Because there were no proper workstations, the team had to perform much of this work directly on the floor. This meant that workers often spent hours kneeling on the concrete floor while packing boxes. The task quickly became exhausting. Backs would ache, knees would hurt, and the repetitive motion of packing orders late into the night took a physical toll on everyone involved. Despite the discomfort, the team pushed through the long hours because the company was facing a challenge that many startups dream of but few are prepared to handle: overwhelming demand. When Amazon officially launched its website, the response from customers was far stronger than the team had anticipated. Within the first month alone, the company received orders from all 50 states in the United States and from customers in 45 different countries around the world. For a startup with only 10 employees and limited infrastructure, this sudden surge in demand created serious logistical challenges. Bezos later admitted that the team was completely unprepared for that level of volume from an operational perspective. Orders kept pouring in every day. The small team worked tirelessly to keep up, packing books as quickly as possible while trying to maintain accuracy and speed. Yet the uncomfortable working conditions made the job increasingly difficult. One night, after hours of kneeling on the concrete floor while packing orders, Bezos was feeling the physical strain just like everyone else. Exhausted and sore, he turned to the employee working next to him and began complaining about the pain in his back and knees. He later joked while telling the story that this moment perfectly demonstrated how even he could come up with terrible ideas. His only defense, he said humorously, was that it was late and everyone was tired. Still, in that moment, Bezos believed he had come up with a clever solution. Frustrated by the discomfort of kneeling on the hard floor, he told the employee beside him that he had just had a brilliant insight. The answer, he thought, was simple. The team needed knee pads. In his mind, knee pads would solve the problem. If workers had cushioning for their knees, they could continue packing orders on the floor more comfortably. The work would still get done, but with less pain. Bezos presented the idea sincerely, convinced he had found a practical fix to the problem. The reaction he received was immediate and unforgettable. The employee looked at him as if he had just suggested the most ridiculous solution imaginable. According to Bezos, the expression on the person's face made it clear that his idea had completely missed the point. Instead of agreeing with the suggestion, the employee responded with a much simpler and more effective idea. They said the team didn't need knee pads at all. What they actually needed were packing tables. The logic was obvious once it was said aloud. Instead of trying to make kneeling on the floor more comfortable, the team could eliminate the need to kneel entirely by creating proper workstations where employees could stand while packing orders. The idea was so straightforward that Bezos immediately recognized how much better it was than his own suggestion. What he had thought was a brilliant idea suddenly seemed painfully misguided. He admitted later that the employee's suggestion was far smarter than anything he had proposed that night. The team wasted no time implementing the change. The very next day, they set up packing tables in the warehouse. These simple work surfaces allowed employees to stand upright while assembling packages, dramatically improving both comfort and efficiency. The impact was immediate. With proper packing tables in place, the team could work faster and with far less physical strain. According to Bezos, the company's productivity nearly doubled after the change was made. What seemed like a small adjustment had a major effect on how efficiently the warehouse could operate, looking back on the moment years later. Bezos often used the story to highlight an important lesson about leadership, humility, and problem-solving. Even founders and CEOs can sometimes overlook obvious solutions, especially when they are too focused on fixing symptoms instead of addressing the underlying problem. His idea of knee pads would have made the discomfort slightly easier to endure, but it wouldn't have solved the real issue. The employee's suggestion addressed the root cause by eliminating the need to kneel altogether. For Bezos, the experience was also a reminder that great ideas can come from anywhere within an organization. Sometimes the people working closest to the problem have the clearest perspective on how to solve it. Beyond the practical lesson, Bezos said that the chaotic early days of Amazon played a crucial role in shaping the company's long-term culture. Because the team was so small and resources were so limited, everyone in the company had to participate in fulfilling customer orders. There were no strict divisions between departments, and no one was too senior to help pack books when the workload increased. This hands-on experience kept every employee closely connected to the customer experience. Each package being prepared represented a real person waiting for their order to arrive, and the team understood that their work directly affected customer satisfaction. Bezos later explained that this environment helped create a culture centered around customer service throughout the company. By working so closely with the fulfillment process, employees developed a deep understanding of the importance of reliability, speed, and accuracy when delivering orders. That mindset eventually became one of Amazon's defining principles. From those early experiences, Bezos established a long-term vision for the company. To become the most customer-focused business in the world. He often described Amazon's mission as striving to be Earth's most customer-centric company, a philosophy rooted in those early days when every employee was personally responsible for making sure orders were packed and shipped correctly. The story of the packing tables became a symbolic example of how simple ideas and collaborative thinking could drive meaningful improvements. It also served as a humbling reminder that even the person who founded the company could overlook obvious solutions. The Academy of Achievement Summit in 2001, Bezos shared the story not just as a humorous anecdote, but as an important lesson about leadership and teamwork. Sometimes the best solutions come from listening carefully to the people around you, and sometimes even the founder can miss what seems obvious in hindsight, and that small moment in a cramped Seattle basement still carries a powerful lesson today. In the early days of Amazon, success didn't come from perfect plans or brilliant speeches. It came from teamwork, humility, and the willingness to listen. Jeff Bezos may have been the founder, but in that moment, it was an employee who saw the problem more clearly and offered the better solution. Instead of simply making the pain easier to endure, they eliminated the problem entirely. That mindset, questioning assumptions, improving systems, and focusing relentlessly on the customer, became part of Amazon's DNA. What started as a tiny team packing books on a concrete floor eventually grew into one of the most influential companies in the world. But the lesson remains timeless. Great ideas can come from anywhere. And sometimes the simplest solutions are the most powerful, and as Bezos himself admitted, even the founder can miss the obvious.